Excellent. Right.
Good evening.
Good evening, Andy. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay. How are you?
Yeah. Yeah, very well. Very well. So you want to talk chopper?
Yeah, chopper. So as you can see, he's getting there. Slowly.
Yep.
It's literally just the arms in the dome left to go, really, and then he'd be ready to go.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. They left the easiest bits to the end.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah. But yeah, once that's done, he's ready for painting. So it's and I'm putting all the electronics in. But yeah, it's been a bit of a struggle.
Tell me the great bits, the bad bits, and the fun bits.
So I think the great bit is when you put the head mech in. Sorry, the tilt mech for the head, and all of a sudden you just see the snark.
Yeah, the nod. Yeah.
And it's like chopper. that was fun. I think putting the body together, it's actually quite enjoyed doing that. That worked really well. I did have trouble with the nuts at the bottom of the body. I think that's purely just the way I was putting them in.
Right. Yeah.
I
should the threaded bars that go right the way through.
Yeah. Thinking about it, I should have done a better way of threading it on the bottom, pushing the bar all the way up, and then putting the top nut on. I didn't. I put it in, and then tried to screw it in from the bottom, and didn't quite work as well.
Yeah, they're a little bit fiddly, them, to be honest. But the actual, I'm with you on the body. I think the body was really enjoyable to design, but also really difficult because there's no square angles, or there's not a lot of square angles in chopper.
No.
Not a lot is centered. So if you kind of got your OCD thing where you're going, right, I want the circle to be in the middle of there, it isn't. If you want it at a 90-degree angle, it isn't. The whole thing with chopper is kind of this mismatch of parts and angles, and so when you're designing it, it's quite difficult.
Yeah, you put that massive patch on the front, and then it kind of says it all, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. Even the red ladder light on the side of the dome, it is neither in the center of the panel nor is it straight up. It's at a slight angle.
I noticed that.
And when I first, when I first released the file, I had somebody contact me saying, "Look, your CAD's wrong," and I said, "No, the CAD is actually exactly spot on to the Rebels mesh and everything. It's chopper that's wrong." But what do you do? Do you straighten it all up, or do you actually keep the character as the character is?
At the end of the day, that's it. He's a character, isn't he? If you straightened it all up, it wouldn't look like chopper.
Yeah.
And
even the eyes in the dome, one of the eyes is very slight. So yeah, but it's a good fun build. And
now that you mention it, I can see it on behind me now. I can see one eye is just very slightly different, very slightly higher.
Yes. Yeah, they are. It's just everything's off a little bit, but like I said, it is accurate to the screen chopper. It's just difficult when you want to almost want to fix things. You want to say, "Oh, I can make that square, or I can make it, at the right sort of space."
Yeah, then they'll be looking at it going, "Nah, that's not right." But then,
so I've been watching your videos anyway, and
cool.
Living the frustration with you and the fun with you.
Yeah, I was talking to John about this. This is a few months ago. I was talking about putting the tires on the drives, and he said, "Oh yeah, I had lots of trouble with that. I had to heat it up with water. I had to push it down. I was putting weights down. I'm thinking, oh god, this is going to be really hard." Click. John, took me 5 minutes. Yes. That was quite enjoyable. I think the main frustrating thing with the drives was the problems I had with the printing with the white and black PLA. Yeah, so the black PLA
Yeah.
parts having the wrong size circle diameters, I guess, or circumferences. I still don't know what that was about. So I just ended up just
Yeah, you do get some varies. I very seldomly print in black for that reason. For whatever reason, black just doesn't agree with me. The natural or the white seems to be the one where I get the most consistency.
Yeah.
You know, printing wise. I don't know whether it's the pigment that they use in the you know, to color the filament or what, but black seems to always be a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, I don't, maybe it sort of expands.
Plus, when you
more
mix and match, I think they cool at different rates.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's to do with heat absorption, I think, to be honest.
Yeah. So the thing is, they're identical printers, so you'd hope they'd be printing more or less the same within tolerance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. And so, what have you got left then to do? Just the arms for the head?
Yeah.
Or
Just the arms for the head. All the eyes are done. They're printed in resin. So John printed those off for me. Yeah, so it's just the arms and the mechanics for that and the doors, and then he's ready for painting.
Right. Have you had any of the mechanics running?
Yes, I've tested
the drives.
I've tested the drives, and they seem to run really smoothly, even on a foam floor. That they're running quite well. Had no control over it because it's literally power to the battery, and just check. But it worked, so that's the main thing. I've had the head tilt working, and as I said, that's there's a lot of character just in the head tilt, and had the periscope running as well. So none of it, properly controlled by
the gearing on the the gearing on the drives is incredibly torquey and very fast. So something to watch out for. I had a real chopper moment with mine when I first built him. So I got him all up and running and got his legs working. He was actually, I think he was in 2-leg mode. And before I flipped in the Padawan system, I was just going to run him on RC to see if his, how the drives work. And on the RC controller, I was in the setup because I was flipping some of the channels. And there's one test thing on the RC controller which I accidentally went into, and all the test thing does, it just goes from one end to the other on all the channels. So on all 6 channels, it was just going like this, wee. And of course, Chopper just shot off, flew. He was bouncing off things. He run over my CR 10 S5. And I literally had to wrestle him to the ground, rugby tackle him to pull him down.
So it's almost like the real Chopper.
Didn't do much damage to the. Just like complete, just like the real Chopper. It's a real Chopper moment. That's when I realised that it was kind of building into what I wanted it to be, really.
Nice. So I mean, I've thanks to you, I've now got all the pieces I need for the drive, for the control system. So I've got the so I've got the Kyber all printed up and ready, and managed to get hold of one of those.
Oh, well done. Is that a 32?
It is a 32, yeah.
25.
So
yes, fantastic.
So to be fair, I actually looted that out of BB-8.
Oh, right, okay.
I bought BB-8 a slightly lower amperage one because it doesn't really need it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's quite hard to get hold of at the moment. Though.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I think when I looked, it was 12 weeks back order on the 32s, and the 25s weren't much better. I was like, okay. I ended up just doing calculations on how much power BB-8 needed. It's like, yeah, I can nick yours and give you a 12.
Yeah, the 32s are incredible. There's way much more power than what you need.
Yes.
In any of the printed builds, I think, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, there's a 32 in my R2, and I sometimes think that's overpowered for a styrene droid.
Yeah. And how long have you been printing Chopper now?
Oh god, when did I start Chopper? November. Oh, was it November 2020? I started printing him.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so started printing. Yeah, just in November, just started running all the parts off, and then once I finished printing it all off, it's like, right, okay, start building them. And we were talking about relaunching, the Rage Print channel, and I thought, well, there you go. There's a build series we can do. Go through the instructions and demonstrate. This is how you put it together, and this is what happens when you read the instructions wrong. And it's working quite well. So yeah, and then printing on and off, just parts I've forgotten or missed since then. And but there's been long breaks in between. Two young kids, I can't really spend a lot of time on it.
No.
Yeah.
And what's it like doing the video at the same time as a build? Does that kind of slow you down?
Yes, it does actually, because it's so the camera's normally here. The camera I'm using now is normally here looking down, so I'm constantly having to make sure I'm angling what I'm doing to the camera. So it makes it kind of awkward when you're trying to get your hand in to do a screw up and you realize that your elbow's blocking the camera angle. So you have to, so it does slow me down an awful lot.
No, so there's a fair bit of work in editing and putting them together once you've done all of the footage, isn't there?
Yeah. So I normally film for about 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours, depending on which bit I'm doing.
Right.
I try and get it all compressed down to about an hour at the most. That's why a lot of it's done in time lapse, or just sped up the video, because I don't think anybody want to watch it for 4 hours at a time, really. Of me just swearing at a screw that's not going
in. Are you filming the painting and the finishing as well, or what's the plan once you've printed everything?
I intend to. I'm just not sure how I'm going to do it yet, because it'll be a laptop, a really long extension cable, a webcam, outside with a spray paint. It doesn't kind of bode well.
Sounds like a recipe for disaster. That.
It does, doesn't it?
No, not at all.
So that's the intention.
Most of this is you alone, is it?
Yeah.
So you don't have anybody holding a camera or anything. You've got to angle everything.
No, I have to do it all myself. I think the only time we've had, I've had somebody helping me do the filming, or me doing the filming for somebody else, was the LozCon episodes. Where me and Joel were working together on the R2 build for Loz. Other than that, I've just been doing it all myself.
Yeah, I've not had that many questions or queries over the chopper build. I think it seems to be fairly logical in how it's put together, so it's not raised hundreds and hundreds of questions like sometimes some of the other models do. Did you found it fairly straightforward? Yeah,
I mean, I think there's only one part where I've gone, oh, that should have been the other way around, really, and that was with the periscope. Which bit was it? Right. Yeah, it was putting the periscope stick through. And trying to attach it to the servo horn. It's like, actually, that would have been easier before you screwed another bit down. I'm trying to remember which way around it was now, but it sort of went that way around. So it would have been easier to take that off, put that in, and then screw it back down. But other than that, there've been logical steps in it, and it works really well. So kudos for writing those.
And what's Thank you. What's the plan on the colour scheme? Are you going traditional chopper or
traditional chopper? I've got hold of I can't remember how I got hold of it now. There's it was floating around on the internet. It's the Rebels character art that tells you all the Pantone colours for the chopper.
Pantone colours, yeah.
So it's I'm going to try and get those, or the closest approximations of them, made up. Spray that. Failing that, I'll just go down to Halford and see what orange looks good. But the white's fairly standard. Yeah,
it kind of works. The only one that's slightly, I don't know whether I say it's off or whether it's right or wrong, but the green shoulder on the Pantone is actually kind of a black almost. And I know Tom from the group has painted. He got all the Pantones mixed up, and then he wasn't happy at all with that black because it's kind of like a dark green, like the front panels off Chopper. So
Yeah.
Just that top, that darker shoulder to watch out for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got whatever orange and yellow I could do, and then.
Yeah. To be fair, I think the orange is very, very similar to BB-8s. I might do a couple of spray tests and see.
Yes.
Because I've got tons of orange ready to paint BB-8 up. So I just, if it works, I'll just use some of it on Chopper. And why not?
Yeah, I went through about 3 or 4 different types of orange with BB-8, and I've got one that I was happy with. I'm just looking at the two now, and they are different. My Chopper is a little bit more kind of washed out than BB-8. So I just couldn't get the orange for whatever reason, and then I ended up getting the orange, and I used a spray brush really just to kind of add extra dark bits and make it a little bit more orange. So I didn't quite get the right colour. I'm happy with it now.
That's the main thing, as long as you're happy with it.
It works quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're planning on the Kyber. Have you tried anything with the Kyber other than printing the panels and the boxes?
So all I have done is literally got all the pieces ready. The last bits turned up yesterday, so I've now got the receivers. So I'm going to I'll start doing bench testing on it at some point, but I haven't powered any of it up yet. It's all ready to go, and I'll sit there and play with it and get it all up and running. There's a few questions I got from Matt actually about that. It's can a Maestro set off or rather can the Kyber tell the Maestro to set off an LED sequence? Yeah, a particular LED sequence. I'm fairly sure it can.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think along the lines of
it should be able to do. It should be able to.
Yeah.
Well, the Maestros are just sequences, so it doesn't matter whether it's an LED or a servo sequence. The only drawback with Maestros is you can't multitask, obviously. So if you've set one animation sequence off, you can't then set another one off, otherwise it stops the previous one.
Okay, so that's easy enough. So yeah,
you can code it so that you can check with Maestro and say, is something running? If something's running, I'll wait till it's finished. I use the manual system of don't press one button too close to another button. So for example, if your arms on your head come out, you wave a little bit, you've got to wait till they go back in again. But if you set another animation sequence to just go,
just stop
kind of stop. So
I was going to say, I was wondering if we're putting a cancel button in, so it just resets all servos back to 0, back to the home position.
Yeah, what I did is on startup, I did a set of sequences that would pull everything back to home position with enough gaps, irrespective of where everything was. So effectively, even if the arms on the dome were out, for example, it opened the doors, and if the doors were already open, it didn't really matter. It then pulled the arms in, it folded the arms up, it shut the doors. So literally on power, it goes through this power up sequence. Yeah. If his arms are already in and the doors are shut, you don't really notice it. The doors kind of make a little bit of a closing noise, but other than that, it's worth doing that on power up sequence just so that it resets everything.
Yeah.
Because you don't know where, even if you run a battery or you had a bit of a power cut or whatever, then you would at least be able to get it back to some sort of normality.
And plus, it kind of reminds me of Iron Man. You know, he's powering up all control surfaces. It feels a bit like that, doesn't it? Yeah. Powering up Chopper.
Yeah, exactly. That's the world we live in now.
Yeah.
So how many videos have you got left, do you think?
Oh, probably about 5 or 6, depending how I do the painting.
Right.
I could do the painting as one video and just say, look, done the orange, done the yellow, done the white, done the green. Yeah. I reckon about 5 or 6. Then, but I think that's probably going to take me at least a video just to get that up and running.
Oh, the Kyber, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a fair bit of support for the Kyber as well, and obviously Matt's around to answer questions. So
yeah.
But like you said, it's a full video of you wrestling it to make it do what it wants to do, and the Maestro, of course, is another kind of wrestle. Have you used Maestros before?
No, I watched your tech tips ones from before, about how to use
Right.
them. So I have to give myself a refresher on them. I think it's quite a while ago that I watched them.
Yeah, they're not too bad. They're not too bad. There's a couple of little gotchas, but most of the ones, it's a matter of just playing with them and familiarising yourself before you actually start to use them in anger.
Hopefully we'll have him rolling soon. There's got a
Very excited.
well, yeah, I've got a convention coming up in June, July, over in Sudley Castle near where I live. I'm trying to, Fantasy Forest, I think it's called. So I'm part of the Gloucestershire Troopers, so local stormtrooper guys. And they said, "Oh, can we have R2?" And it's like, "Yeah, you can have R2. I might have Chopper running as well." And it's like, "Oh, please, you can get him running." Like, okay, I'll try.
Yeah. So between now and July, you've got 6 videos to make, Chopper to finish in painting.
Yeah.
Oh, and all the Kyber to program.
And the Kyber to program, yeah.
That won't be difficult.
No, sure, it won't be difficult at all. So we'll see. It might just be R2, but it'd be nice if I could have Chopper there as well. Just because.
What I like about build as well is that most of the background droids are they haven't got anywhere near as much animation or personality as R2, so they're generally just a 3-legged thing rolling around. R5 admittedly kind of breaks down now and again, but because the Chopper character in the animated series, he's probably got the most motions out of all of the astromechs. So as a build, even if people haven't seen him before, it's quite surprising because he's got lots of features like the head nod and the arms coming out the head and all of that kind of stuff. So he's quite entertaining to take out.
I imagine that was quite difficult to build in because you think, we've got R2, we've had a physical droid to work off for all these years with the limitations that has, and then all of a sudden you're trying to change a cartoon character where there's no consideration for physical law at all to make him do stuff in the real world. Let's face it.
Absolutely. I had some brilliant references from the Chopper, so I literally, knit down to pixel, knew what he had to look like. But as you said, because he's animated, one of the issues with him is the battery boxes. And I was talking to Michael Masters about this when he made the original one for Lucasfilm. When he's in 3-leg mode, his battery box is actually embedded into the skirt by about that much. Because of course, in animation, it doesn't matter; you can squash things together. So what Michael Masters did is he kind of lengthened the legs out. Now I didn't want to lengthen the legs out because then he doesn't look as much like Chopper. So what I ended up doing was lengthening the legs a little bit.
Yeah.
I reduced the battery boxes down a tiny bit, and then the angle on the skirt, I brought in a tiny bit. So what I did is adjusted about 3 or 4 different pieces so that visually, when you actually look at the difference between that and the images on screen, it's very, very virtually indistinguishable as to what you've actually tweaked or changed. So that was one of the big things to get over. The other thing was the arms, because the arms, there's no way that the arms actually fit in the head as they are.
No.
And the arms that, again, the original arms just came out like this, but I did say I'd try and get them animated. So you kind of had to adjust the size of them, work out how they folded in, and then also try and get a mechanism without having sort of 15 servos in there to create a load of complexity. So there was a lot of considerations really against the animated one. And I said that the other thing, of course, is like I said, that there's nothing that's square. He is one of my favorite builds and designs so far.
Yeah, I must admit I am enjoying it. It's just slower than I wanted to be. That's
very cool. And are you glad you did the video series at the same time, or was that just a nightmare in a bind?
Yes and no. I mean, part of me kind of wishes I just filmed it all while building it and then just edited the videos and released them all. But because I do the voiceover after I filmed it, we're going, what the hell did I do here? Why did I do that? And even 3 days later, I'm still looking at it going, what was I doing there? why, when did I do this? So yeah, I think doing it bit by bit, the way I'm doing it now is probably the better way.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And have you got anything planned after Chopper?
Yeah. So I want to finish BB-8. I've got my original BB-8 is a hamster drive, and it was using what's called the T&M sphere. So it's a two-layer sphere. So you had the inner sphere, and then you had an outer sphere of BB-8's panels. But I had so many problems with that. I just, first opportunity I got, I kind of ditched and said, look, this is only good for static, really. And I was talking to one of the guys in the BB-8 group, and he said, oh, somebody's releasing a hamster version of the Von Jet sphere, which is like a unibody sphere. Oh, can I get on the test group for this? So they're all printed off down there, sat ready to go, and I ended up doing Chopper instead.
You've got to circle back and do that afterwards then.
Yeah, I must admit, after looking at all the Kyber bits, I'm kind of thinking I changed BB-8 to a sort of a Kyber RC, sort of combination anyway. Because
okay.
Yeah, so I was looking at what Dave Alvarez has done with his hamster drive BB-8, and it's completely RC, and it's using an RC gyro to keep the head level.
Right.
I thought, well, you can still do that, and then just put the Kyber in between for sounds. So I'm thinking it might work, but we'll see.
Yeah, I've not seen the Kyber on active balancing one like BB-8.
So I know Matt said he doesn't support it, but I think that means he doesn't support it using the little IMUs.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking if the receiver's actually got the stabilization in it, that might compensate for that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Interesting idea.
Yeah, this one. So look at it out. It's because S8R. So it's the same sort of one that's going in Chopper, but it's got the stabilization in it. So
okay. Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna give that. If it doesn't work, I'll just switch it back to Padawan. So still all the bits. But yeah, after that, it's a proton pack. Yeah, completely not droid related. Proton pack.
Going straight onto the Ghostbusters after that, then.
Yeah, pretty much. So again, all the pieces are printed. They're sat in a box next to Chopper, and I've got everything I need. It's just that in that case, it's literally just putting together and painting it. That's the only stage left.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, but again, that's
videoing that as well.
Sorry.
Are you videoing that as well?
Yeah, I will do, but I might change the way I do that one. Maybe just do a lot of cuts and say, look, I'm going to do this, cut, and say, here you go, this is what I've done.
Right.
Just so the filming's a bit quicker, because I think with the proton pack, it's fairly obvious how a lot of it bolts together. There's only like 5 bolts up the side effectively to keep all the pieces together.
Yeah.
So does it really need videoing? Probably not. But,
right, got you.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing after that was I don't know if you remember it, but do you remember Mask?
I do indeed.
The
yes.
early 80s.
Jim Carrey Mask.
No. The cartoon.
Oh gosh, yeah. Of course.
Yeah. So
the one that had a frame rate of about 5 frames a second or something. It was really quite jerky.
That's the one, yeah. So it basically where all the cars turned into different vehicles and they all had the mask on. And So then there was a little robot in that called T-Bob.
Okay.
So this is a 3D printed.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, I do remember.
Yeah. So my son's decided he quite likes my old toys. So I dug them out of the attic and been letting him play with them. And I remembered how bad the T-Bob toy was, so I found one and printed a better one. Just need to tidy it up. But I was thinking, what about that full size?
That'd be a fantastic build, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So full size, the head turns, some of the clips from the show sort of talking, and you'll have everybody going, "What the hell's that?" I don't remember that. What's that? But it'd be quite good. It's about the same size as R2. So
I think all the robots of that era were pretty much based on R2, weren't they? A lot of them were the cylinder body and then the domed head in one guy's or another guy's. Was it Battle of the Planets was another one?
I think it was, yeah.
There's one called.
Yes. Yeah.
That was probably slightly before the one that you mentioned, but Battle of the Planets had a similar kind of R2 based version.
So I think that one would be quite entertaining to do, because I've not seen, unlike R2 and pit droids and battle droids and also, there's no T-Bob builders group. So
get the Facebook page made.
Start it up. T-Bob builders 3D printed.
6 members.
Yeah.
People that can remember it.
Yeah. And that'll be it. 6 people, 6 T-Bobs. Well done.
Well, I know exactly, and that's the beauty of the hobby, really. To be honest, there's so many different ways in which you can push it, isn't it? To design, build, paint, electronics, mechanics. It's just it's never ending, really. Yeah,
I must admit, I was talking to my workmates about all the things I've learned since joining the R2 builders. I never thought I'd be using power tools. Always been terrified of using routers and table saws and this sort of stuff. Just never went near them. But used them on a regular basis to build R2. Into coding for microcontrollers. Never even touched it before. And I knew about them, but never touched it. Never thought I'd need to use it. And here I am, sort of coding things and changing R2's code from Padawan and making it do things, and painting putty and that sort of stuff. I've always done model kits, but never model that sort of size.
No, I mean, I always found it brilliant. I used to watch the old making of films and all of the different ways in which they did animatronics and they did special effects and all that kind of stuff, but with some really exotic materials and tools, and computer control, none of which would ever reach our world. And then suddenly we've got stuff which is ridiculously cheap. The Arduinos, Maestros, servos. They all end in O, and they're all very, very low cost, and you can now do the same thing that you could do that we've kind of seen in the making of the movies. So it's quite exciting, really, to be honest, what we've got at our fingertips.
If not better in some cases.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you look at the original R2 and then you look at what we can do with ours, and it's like, yeah. Admittedly, that's 40 odd years ago, but
absolutely. I think the argument was that theirs is more reliable. We've got a lot of things to go wrong in ours, but actually, I don't think that's the case now. I don't think theirs was particularly reliable at the time.
No, I think if anybody sneezed at it, it sort of stopped working, didn't it? But
no, it's an amazing time we're working.
Yeah, it's only going to get. Well, I mean, this is the first time I've ever used, the ESPs. I've heard of them, didn't really know what they were, and it's only when I saw the Kybers, oh, okay, what are these ESPs about? And wait, it's got Bluetooth on and Wi-Fi. Brilliant, job done. Don't need anything else.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that we, as a builder group, we should do is experiment more in these different technologies. We tend to jump on something like Padawan. I think mainly because the electronics is quite scary and coding was. So we go, Padawan works, brilliant, keep with it. But, it's an Xbox 360 controller that's about 10, 12 years old now, difficult to get hold of. And there's, even the Arduinos are absolutely amazing, but the 8-bit technology, they're so old. Yeah. So jumping onto the ESPs and the Pis have got new ones, haven't they? Pis, Picos called. Yeah. There's a new Pi microcontroller, and these have kind of, like I said, they've got Bluetooth on, they've got Wi-Fi on. So I do think we need to keep looking at seeing what the latest and greatest stuff could be.
Well, I mean, it kind of goes back to that, doesn't it? Everyone gets those because of Padawan. So, well, what's the alternatives? And people say, well, there isn't alternatives. You need to recode Padawan. Recode Padawan then.
Yeah, we're talking to Trevor in the group. I mean, Trevor just uses standard RC speed controllers, which are £30 rather than £120. So there's, if you're comfortable with coding, you can still get something that works perfectly well and not spend the same sort of money on Sabertooth. Sabertooth is brilliant. I mean, the features and ramping is fantastic. I think, if you're driving around at extremely heavy aluminium droid, you kind of want something that's got all of that in, but there are cheaper options for people who want to experiment a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, even down to the soundboard as well. It's everyone's saying, "Oh, use the Spark Fun." Like, well, actually, I think the DF mini players are an awful lot better. Yeah,
yeah, you get them in the cornflower box, cornflake boxes. Yeah, the crazily cheap those things, aren't they?
Yeah, and if it burns out, you just chuck another one in. Whereas the Spark Fun board is what, 30-40 quid at the moment, if not more, assuming you can get it.
Yeah, I think 50 quid actually. I think they're not cheap at all.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you're right. More experimentation. I think it is needed. I think I'm just hoping that Kyber doesn't become the next Padawan, that everyone kind of jumps on it. That becomes standard, as good as it is. That no one wants to innovate further past that.
Yeah.
And sort of, when I know we use Kyber because it's reliable, it's brilliant, it's in a box, it's all done. So but we need to. What's the alternatives? What's the alternative if, I don't know, all of a sudden they stop making DF mini players, or they stop? There's a shortage of ESP32s. Yeah. What are the alternatives?
And it's relatively easy to port stuff across, or to move, because ultimately all the microcontrollers tend to work very, very similar.
Yeah.
People who can code can generally switch between, if it's got slight difference in languages, or they just use the standard one for the Arduino, the C++ or whatever it is. And speed controllers they all work on PWMs or whatever. Yeah. So they're all pretty much the same. It's just getting the head around it. So like you said, I think the more we learn about it, the less tied in you are then to the out-of-the-box systems.
Yeah, definitely. I think I kind of fell into that trap originally. It was R2, I need either RC or Padawan. Well, I'll go Padawan because it's an Xbox controller. That means I can do all the animations and stuff. The RC couldn't do that. And then I kind of stayed in that group for a while, and then you start doing events, and you find that the Xbox controller is cutting out. It's not interference from everywhere. You suddenly think, okay, I need to look somewhere else. I need to look at alternatives. And I think RC's now caught up with that.
Yeah. The bit that made me switch across was doing the smaller builds, because like the micro and baby droids and all that kind of stuff. It would be a bit crazy to put a 250 quid system into one of those to control it, whereas just buying another receiver and working out how you do it, either in using the odd Arduino or using servos or servo type controllers is a cheaper way of doing it. So I think you've got to play with them, but experiment.
Yeah, otherwise it dies, doesn't it?
Cool. Yeah. Well, I think we've pretty much covered every topic that is conceivably possible.
Yep.
But yeah, thanks for this. It's been interesting. It's been brilliant watching you build all the chopper videos as well and put those together. I know I've had a few people from the group who've kind of been following it avidly as well.
Yeah.
I think it just gives people an insight into building these things and the frustrations of 3D printing, which you narrate very nicely, I've got to say, Andy.
Thank you. So, but thank you for designing them. I mean, ultimately, I couldn't do it without your files. But yeah, I'm hoping that as well as helping people how to build it, it's also making it less scary.
Yeah,
because the amount of posts I see in both your group, the R2 Builders group, and even the BB8 group is, I want to build a droid, but I'm really scared how to do it. It's like, well, watch that. It'll let you know how much work's involved, and also what to look out for in the pitfalls. But also you find it doesn't seem that hard. It's not. As long as you take your time and as long as you're careful, what was the old adage? Measure twice, cut once type thing.
Yeah.
Then you'll be fine. But,
Yeah, well, it was how I started watching James Bruton, the X robots stuff that he does, and I just got addicted to watching how he built things. Followed by, well, yeah, I can probably do a lot of that, and also he's kind of, I think the great thing is kind of you don't know where to start, but he'll talk about the motors or the technology or the servos or whatever he's using. You go, oh yeah, I'll try and get hold of one of those and play with it. And I think, I think living the experience through watching a video a couple of times, like you said, can give you that confidence to think, oh, I can probably blow things up as much as he can, really.
Yeah, it's easy enough.
Yeah.
But I mean,
exactly.
same thing for me, James Bruton, but also Tested.
Yeah.
Sitting there watching Adam build stuff in a day, and you suddenly think, oh, actually, it's not quite as complex as they've always made out in the films. It is spray foam and a craft knife type thing. And you think, oh, okay, yeah, I can do that. That's easy enough. So, yeah.
The big drawback is having rooms and buildings big enough to put all of the stuff that you make once you get going.
Yes.
You soon run out of space.
Tell me about it. So, I mean, I don't know how easy it's to see on camera from when I do the videos, but my building area is about as far as I can stretch my arms. So that's how far I got to build in, and I got the 2 printers there. So I'm looking at about this. But I mean, that is a whole garage behind me. But as you can see, that's full of all the usual sort of nerdy, geeky stuff that I've had over the years. So there's not much more room for droids in there. My wife's already said, you're not building another big one, are you? No.
Define big.
Yes. That's what I said to her. I said, no, I'm not building another big one. I might build one that's about that big. She went, where are you going to put it?
I need to build another shed, I think. I need somewhere to store all of the ones that are finished, and then I can get on and start to build other stuff in with a bit more space than what I've got at the moment. There's just there's a sea of hollow projectors staring at me at the moment, all complaining about how close they are to everybody else. Yeah,
I must admit, when we visited, it was I was surprised at how small it is.
Yeah, it is. Oh, it's a big space for building something. It's not a big space for storing all the stuff that I've got in there. So I've got to get another, and it's even fuller at the moment now because I've moved a lot of stuff out of the house. And we did some work on the house, so I've got to get it all straightened up really. And but ultimately, I just need another shed to store things. I think a big workshop.
Yeah. Thank you very much, and thank you for sending me that.
Yeah, no problem.
Give me that springboard I needed. So.
Yeah, well, I was going to put it in a smaller one. I actually put it in the little baby Wally that I'm doing, but then I thought it's going to take me a while to get the baby Wally. The chances are that will run fine on the Maestro anyway, so it'd be very cool to put that into Chopper, to be honest. So hence, probably better hurtling it your way.
Thank you very much. So you gave me the impetus to then go and get the rest of the bits, like a decent RC transmitter and that as well. So
yeah. No, I looking forward to seeing him roll around, to be honest. Yeah. But thanks for that. Take care.
Okay, thank you very much.
To see you in person soon.
Yes, you will do. So,
are you coming to the one in August?
Yes, I am, because I still have my ticket from last time.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah. I'll definitely see you then.
Definitely. Cool.
Okay.
All right. See you later. Bye.
Bye. Bye.